Joe and I would like to welcome you to the 2021 Scholarship Luncheon.
We very much miss seeing everyone at events like this one. Yet, we are feeling very optimistic about the return to campus this fall.
At DePaul, our goal is to be among the top Catholic urban universities in the nation. From our top-ranked academic programs to our faculty, who always put teaching first, we are known for delivering an excellent education to a diverse community of learners. We have been doing so for nearly 125 years. Our community includes those with great financial need. Last academic year, nearly 82% of DePaul's undergraduate students received some form of financial aid. We have raised $60 million and more than 6,000 donors gave to scholarships. Students received more than $230 million in institutional scholarships and grants, as well as nearly $10 million in donor-funded scholarships. We are able to continue to award this much-needed financial aid because of you, our donors.
Your continued commitment and dedication to DePaul mean everything to us. As scholarship recipients, Gabriel and I personally know how much your gift means to our students. One scholarship can change a student's life. DePaul is blessed to have thousands of generous donors, including our alumni, parents, faculty, staff, friends, and trustees who make these outstanding investments in our students. You are a true inspiration to our university community.
This past academic year has not been easy. The global pandemic created unprecedented financial hardship for our students and family. That's why, in September, we announced an urgent fundraising campaign with a goal of raising $60 million this academic year to meet student needs. The extended DePaul community responded overwhelmingly to our call. We raised nearly $90 million so far, the largest amounts raised in a fiscal year in our history. Your extreme generosity is humbling. Thanks to you, we created new scholarships and support funds to help ensure our students can complete their education. For that, we are grateful.
Thank you for everything you do for DePaul. Please stay safe and healthy. We will be together again soon, and we can't wait to see you.
We are DePaul.
My name is Kizawanda Wyatt. My journey to law school began a long time ago. After many, many years in between my first try at undergrad, I finally completed my degree in 2018 at Fordham University in New York City. And while I was at Fordham, I was exposed to so many different theology classes, and it made me want to really do more to serve others. And so when I was trying to decide which graduate path I would take, a master's actually came across my mind first. I thought about a master's in social work, but then I realized that I could have a greater impact and have more opportunities, different ways to help people by having a law degree. For me, an education is going to provide not just an opportunity to help others, but an opportunity to help my family. It's upward mobility, right? I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, and now I'll be the first lawyer in my family. And I will be able to then, hopefully pass on the torch to someone else. For someone to recognize the value that I have other than a number, other than a GPA, was extremely validating for me. Not only validates what I believe my, worth is, for lack of a better word, but it also makes me want to also do the same for someone else coming up behind me. So I hope that one day I can be, a scholarship donor to someone and recognize someone else for the accomplishments that they've been able to achieve. To all of the donors, thank you so much for your generosity. Your willingness to give has made an impact not only in my life, but in the lives of so many other students. And I want you to know that we appreciate you.
Pat and I are deeply committed to supporting institutions that are educationally grounded, that want to serve individuals who are on the margins, that want to achieve their educational goals. Pat's commitment for education comes from his experience being the son of Irish immigrants, first generation coming to the United States, first generation going to college. My connection with education is I was the first woman in my family to earn a college degree. DePaul changed my life. It's as simple as that. As an undergraduate student, I really blossomed in the DePaul community. When a full-time job opened up at DePaul University and Father Tom Croak asked me, would you like to work here? I thought, wow. Originally I was going to be a history teacher, and I loved working with students. So I loved education, and I love the whole educational environment. So to be able to work full-time at a university, especially a place like DePaul, I jumped at that chance. And what I learned about DePaul students is they are hardworking, dedicated to their academics and their families and their future career opportunities, willing to give back, willing to serve the larger society where it was in most need, very humble. They don't take themselves very seriously. They are the types to roll up their sleeves and they want to get the job done. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to help them be successful, help them earn their DePaul degree, achieve their goals while they were at the university, and help launch them into their future careers.
Yeah, being on the golf team is a dream come true. It was always my dream to play collegiate golf. The whole experience was amazing. We travel everywhere across the United States, connecting with your team. You're learning different cultures everywhere we go. It's a different culture there, different teams there, and it's just really nice to see the world through golf. We were just down in southern Alabama, so it's like, a city boy goes down to Alabama, and we just, I connect with their culture, they connect with mine a little bit, and it's just great. It's just a lot of growing. I came in as a little kid, a little city boy that didn't know really much about anything other than the city, and I think coming in, I wasn't as much as a leader. I was just not built that way, and I feel like throughout these 4 years, the athletic program, the school, and everyone around me molded me into a leader. I'm now the president of the captain council. I'm on the athletic board, and I'm the captain of my team. So I have a lot, in debt to the school, where it has built me into something that I can look forward to in life. I want to be a leader. I want to, do as much good as I can in this world. And I think that this school has prepped me to be that type of leader. To be a scholarship student at DePaul, it means a lot. It's just for me, just knowing that there's something that can be taken off financially, it helps a lot. Just it makes your head a little clearer. You can focus more on the task at hand instead of always worrying about, how am I going to pay the next bill. So I think that is something that really pushes me. It motivates me that I'm been given this opportunity. And I can't take it for granted because I only have one shot at it. So I have to make the best of it. I want to make sure that I can do the most I can so that students after me have the same privilege that I have. I want to make my mark so that people behind me can also have the same, opportunities to take these scholarships like I did. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making not only my college experience much more, secure, but others as well. I enjoy talking to donors because every donor that I've spoken with, you see a light within them and it spreads within you and it just gives you motivation, and I just can't thank them enough for all these special opportunities. Someone was so generous to donate to all these students. I want to be able to do the same thing back later on.
Scholarship students provide a great pride for our DePaul community. So in thinking about my current students within the scholarship program, they're excited to be here. They're excited to get involved on campus. They're excited to get involved in service opportunities. They're excited to work for on-campus jobs at DePaul. So they really provide a sense of pride and onus for the overall DePaul community. It's really also about retention. I know if we think about current scholarship students, they're provided with these opportunities to be awarded a 4-year scholarship, and being able to be at an institution where they get assistance all 4 years, that certainly helps increase retention, that helps increase persistence, but also graduation rates. If they're given opportunity to be here freshman year, they're in good standing with their scholarship, with their undergraduate courses, that is enough value right there to help strengthen those retention numbers, and then leads to pretty good graduation rates as well. So that's really how I see students strengthening the overall DePaul community long term.
The fabric of DePaul is, and the foundation of DePaul is really built on social justice. And I think that the way that we operate as a community, which includes our students, it is the most integral part of the DePaul community is the students that we send out into the world. I will go anywhere, and when someone asks me, what do you do for a living, or my connection with DePaul in some way, and when DePaul comes up, I have so many people say to me, anytime I meet a student from DePaul, they have some sense of that social responsibility. They have a sense of, I'm here to contribute to the community, to make it better. And in so many ways, because we are built on the foundation of charity, of giving to others where they otherwise do not have that opportunity. Because we're built on that, and it's so intertwined in what we do every day in the DePaul community, no matter where you sit within the DePaul community, students leave with that.
I've seen so many first-generation college students who may have come from single parent families, had high need. They were really trying to navigate the current institution in terms of, where do I go in terms of changing my major, or what types of majors should I be thinking about long term, or I'm kind of facing this current situation at home in terms of food insecurity, housing insecurity. Where can I go to get that extra support? Really just kind of connecting with students to really understand their stories has been a great connection point over these past few years.
We have an appeal process open all year long that's formal. But what I would say to appeal processes in general is what Chris and I do as partners every day is we manage appeals on an individual level. While it may not be a formal process, Chris can call me on any given day and say, Amy, I have a student who is managing their household. They are the prime breadwinner. They have a family member that's ill. They have maybe brothers and sisters that need to be cared for as well. And at this point, struggling to make a household run. While we have, 20,000 plus students, remember that for each of us, each of these is an individual story. They're not a part of a greater picture. They're a person in front of us that needs help now. They're a person that has layers of things that they have to, challenges that they have to overcome to be successful. And Chris and I's challenge throughout all of this is to find ways to help them be successful. And if we cannot help them provide a stable home with which they can study, with which they can go home and have peace, with which they can do the things that many of us are afforded without even thinking about it, Those are the things that change lives. The most proud moments is to hear a student's excitement when they find that they've been selected for a scholarship or they find that funding is coming to them. So many of them think of themselves as not worthy. And to feel in a moment that a student felt worthy is something that means so much to all of us. And I think that it makes the struggles of, the opposite end of that, of hearing a student is struggling with something as serious as a mental health issue that is really debilitating, or they're dealing with, a really difficult family situation. They're dealing with homelessness. Large scale issues that all of us in our own right would struggle to imagine being in those types of situations. For every moment that is difficult, to hear that there's a student that I wish I could do everything for to put them in the best position, and we do what we can. There is always that moment where somebody simply says, thank you. Without this, I would never be here. For many of our students that Chris and I work with, this is a crucial point in their life, which will determine what direction this moves in. Will I never go to college? Will I work? And that will be what it is. It's a major turning point in the way that this can change what they thought possible for themselves.
It's been a very great and unique 3.5 years doing this work and being able to really build a scholarship program and have a curriculum model and cohort models and really follow students throughout their 4 years here has been a great experience. I'm all about also sharing my story as well. So me being from a single parent home, also being a scholarship student, I'm able to kind of share my story in terms of kind of where I came from and kind of where I've gotten to now in my current career, and really just kind of share those lived experiences to really provide that sense of hope. Being able to be a part of someone's village, to really instill in them that they can do this. You are worthy. You can graduate from college, being a first-generation college student. So really being that support person for a student who may need that additional support has been a great experience.
The experience of a scholarship student has tremendous personal resonance for me. As a high school senior, I was evaluating what potential options would be for me in continuing my education. Quite frankly, DePaul University would have been not an option for me had I not earned a 4-year full tuition scholarship. At that point in time was the Ledger and Quill scholarship given to one incoming accounting student. And that scholarship meant the difference in terms of my ability to access a DePaul education. So looking back on what that meant to me, what that meant to my family, when I graduated, I made it a personal commitment that I would continue to provide that opportunity for students of the future. And that's something that my wife and I have had a tremendous investment over the years in ensuring that we have the opportunity for students to have a similar experience at DePaul in the way that I did when I was a undergrad student. One of the great things about a DePaul education is it is values-based. It's rooted in obviously the Vincentian ideals of service to others. And when I think about, over the course of the years, when I've gone to meet with our scholarship students every year, they may not be at this particular point in time in their lives able to be able to make, the next investment, obviously in terms of scholarships for the future. But, I'm often, uplifted to hear the number of things that they're involved in from a service standpoint, from investments in their communities, the work that they do to give back. There's that, the effect of being able to multiply the investments that we're making in students in terms of what they're able to do at this particular point in their lives. And hopefully to take away from this the same type of view that I did, which is to be able to make investments in students in the future when they're able to do so as well. When I was a student on full scholarship here, not to date myself, but the cumulative amount of the scholarship that I earned as a 4-year full tuition scholarship was roughly the amount of scholarship that our students need on average per annum. So all thing you think about in terms of the increase in the cost of college education over the course of the years, as a scholarship donor, thinking about the difference in terms of what's needed from a resourcing standpoint to ensure that we have the ability to make those investments is critically important. I view this whole thing in terms of the university made an investment in me at that point in time, and I had an obligation to repay that investment over the course of the years that followed.
I think a college experience is an opportunity to immerse yourself and really find out what are you passionate about, what are your interests. And I think there's no better place to do that than in the city of Chicago at DePaul. Being able to be in the loop, and whether you're taking cold call or a coffee chat in person downtown, or whether you're networking with someone over Zoom, it provides that opportunity. And I'll touch on what an education means to me. For me, an education is more than just a degree. My grandfather first came to the United States in the 80s to pick fruits and vegetables, and he had it a lot more difficult than I did. And then my parents eventually came here after a financial crisis that occurred in Mexico, and they pursued their higher education here, and they eventually learned the culture, learned the customs, and became involved. And for me, receiving an education just made things a lot more easier for me even afterwards, especially from DePaul, where you can receive a world-class education that's prepared me with things I didn't even know, such as how to dress, what to wear, how to interact with employers, how to properly consume a meal when you're interviewing, just small things that you just don't get at other universities. To think that receiving a scholarship is like a vote of confidence, especially if you're about to enter midterm seasons or just finishing up with midterms and feel pretty worn out from studying. To receive an email saying that you received a scholarship is a huge sigh of relief, but also a really big honor that feels as though someone is saying, this is tough, but I believe in you and you can do it. I've realized during my time at DePaul, tasks are usually the ones worth doing, although they may seem challenging at first. I remember coming and talking to my parents about financial situations and where I was heading, and they told me, we don't necessarily think we can afford DePaul without taking out student loans. And that was something that was very scary to me for the first time, owing someone money that I, wasn't able to provide at a high level to pay off. But after I came to DePaul, I didn't realize the incredible scholarship support from donors that not only helped me advance my career, but also help other students, because now I could focus more on extracurricular activities. I was fortunate enough to start a club with the support from professors and other students. I was able to pay it forward and help other students focus on their resume and LinkedIn, how to make it better, and answer some questions that I had when I first started out, instead of having to worry about how am I going to pay for this book or how am I going to pay for Pearson online. From the bottom of my heart, all I can say is thank you. Thank you, and that I hope to one day be in the same situation to pay it forward to other students as you have done for me. The biggest takeaway I've learned is that when we help each other out, it's like in economics. The pie gets bigger and everyone is happier.
I'm one of 7 children. My father passed away when I was 14 years old, so my mother had to struggle and work 2 jobs herself to support 7 children and put them all through Catholic school. And so I learned from a very early point in my life that to get ahead and be successful in life, you had to work hard. When I got the opportunity to go to DePaul to law school, I understood what the challenge was going to be, and I worked hard to be successful. DePaul gave me an opportunity to do that. I started out, and after the first semester, I had to take a leave of absence, a medical leave of absence, to have some surgery. And in that interim, after I had the surgery, I was working 2 jobs and deciding to go back to law school, and I met a friend in a gas station, which was one of the jobs I was working at. And he had just finished law school, and we became friends. He encouraged me to get back to law school. I did. We stayed in touch with each other, and an opportunity became available as a law clerk in the law firm where he worked, and he called me and suggested that I take the job. So I worked there during the day and went to law school at night. And as it happened, by the time I graduated from law school, an opportunity presented itself for me to get a job full-time working at that law firm. I just made up in my mind that I wanted to be successful because my father had been successful. My mother had worked hard. She was successful at raising a family. And I knew what it would take to do that. It was just hard work and being committed. And those are the kinds of students that I think do extremely well in the law practice and in life, because they are committed, they have set a goal for themselves, and they work toward that goal. And whenever you can help that student achieve their goals, I think it's extremely important to do that. It fits my nature. It fits the nature of what DePaul does and the mission at DePaul. It's why I serve on the Board of Trustees. It's just paying it forward. It's giving back. It's helping people be successful in life. And I don't think any institution does it any better than DePaul does.
My mother, she was an educator, and I've always grew up around her doing work for her students. She always went above and beyond, even when her students, their parents didn't care, their parents wasn't able to provide. She would always reach in her own pocket and, give money to support, or she'd give clothes or bring foods to class and other things as such. She always made a way for those who didn't. So some of that I definitely can say rubbed off on me, and I became a lot more service oriented. And I was fortunate to be offered an opportunity to intern with the Office of Equity in Chicago Public Schools, where again, I learned a lot more of those frameworks and toolkits that I use now to just elevate youth experience and create a more equitable society. Since then, I've been hired by CPS. I work full-time, I work part-time in the Office of Equity, and I've been able to continue to develop those experiences. It's very affirming to receive and know that someone cares about you. For myself, as a Black queer male, there's not many opportunities that I receive for someone to invest in me, or there's not many spaces where people are willing to invest in my potential and success and tell me that I matter. So I'm very grateful when I do have the opportunities to engage and to receive these funds and receive this assistance. It's very affirming, and it lets me know that, like, okay, my life does matter. I do add value to this organization, and my thoughts and perspectives are important. By being in community with folks in the scholarship community, that also is very encouraging. We are in community, we're having similar issues, we're having these very deep intellectual conversations, and we're not too much different from each other. So it's nice to know that you're not alone in this fight. People are genuinely, authentically rooting for you, and they actually want to see the best for you. And I'm just grateful to be a part of that, because again, it's not many spaces willing to invest in people that look like me in my space and in my potential and future. So I'm very grateful for that, and any opportunity I can get, really.
I had an unusual start to kind of my academic journey. I graduated from online high school in Minnesota in 2017, and then I actually found my way to the College of Charleston in South Carolina, where I did my freshman year. And I was in speech, and I had done a lot of public speaking when I was younger. So I took a few communication classes and fell in love with the material. So I decided to do as much research and Googling of communication programs and schools that had really great reviews on their communication faculty. And then I found DePaul, and I absolutely fell in love with the city of Chicago and just the atmosphere that DePaul provided. So I decided to transfer, and I transferred as a sophomore, and it was the best decision I ever made. My scholarship has done a lot for me. Within this past year, it's been such a whirlwind since the pandemic and everything kind of shut down. I had an internship lined up for my summer year, going into my senior year, and it got canceled. My father actually ended up losing his job, and my mother ended up losing her sub position that she had. So it was financially very crippling and very devastating. And I was very concerned about how I was going to finish up my senior year and graduate and not come out completely stressed out about the debt I was in. So I began applying for any scholarship that I could, because I was just so nervous about the financial devastation that I was facing up against with the pandemic. So it was kind of this moment of harsh reality of, oh my gosh, the world just was flipped upside down. And then having a scholarship was just the exact thing I needed to keep me going. It was very motivational. So it definitely kept me optimistic. It kept me to keep pursuing my degree. But I think it also it was very validating to have a scholarship, and it made me care so much more about what I could do in return for DePaul. So this past year, I had a little bit of extra free time on my hand, and having the scholarship and really having the past 4 years of DePaul in such great community, I knew I needed to do something my senior year to try to improve the university. So I took my free time and I took the extra financial room that having a scholarship gave me. And in November, late November, I started working with one of my professors to create a diversity, inclusion, and equity fellowship at DePaul for the College of Communication. That fellowship launched in January with me starting out as the fellow, and I have been able to do a bunch of DE&I initiatives within the College of Communication, have ongoing conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it has just opened my eyes. And I think without having that motivational push and the need to want to give back to the DePaul community the way it has helped me this past year, it really pushed me to want to create that fellowship and want to leave something behind at DePaul as well. Education makes you more compassionate. It makes you more understanding because you have so much more access to views and perspectives that you probably wouldn't necessarily critically think about. I mean, you might, but to have the theories and these course discussions and to be sitting in a group of classmates talking about all these different perspectives and ways of seeing one issue has just been really eye-opening. And for me, coming from an online school setting, I had this very independent learning style coming into college. And then when I got to a college classroom and I was sitting amongst other students, I started to realize the value in community and education as well, and having marginalized communities and all these groups of people and backgrounds coming together and sharing ideas, sharing perspectives, and having discussions. And as uncomfortable as they might be sometimes and as challenging as they might be, and having you to reflect on yourself, I think it is so important, the work that is being done in the classroom, not only academically, but the internal growth that you are going through, especially when you're in those college years. For me, I'm 22 and I'm graduating this year. I look back and I have changed so much in the past 4 years that I like to think is the large part of myself, but I also owe so much to my professors and to the faculty and to my classmates because they have challenged me beyond words to just push myself to do better in my writing and my speaking, but also in just my being and giving back and doing more for communities and being outspoken and having a voice that matters. So I think it just makes you all around see the world in different ways and have tools to help where you can. So there are not enough words to express my gratitude for how I feel towards anyone who has donated to scholarships. It is beyond me to know that someone has invested so much in my education. I'm sorry, I'm choking up. It's honestly kind of emotional because it means that there's a community that cares about the next generation, a community that is willing to invest in the ideas and sees our voices as valuable and being worthy of heard and giving us these opportunities to be heard through education and equip us with the tools to contribute to our communities and to society. I think it's wonderful. I don't think I will ever be able to express my gratitude. Hopefully someday I will be in the position to be a donor myself and give back. I think that would be the best way I could ever express my gratitude, would be to pay it forward someday and to take my degree and to take everything DePaul has given me and to do something with my career that I can eventually be in a position to help more students that were like me.
Hello, I'm Dan Allen. I'm the Senior Vice President for Advancement and External Relations at DePaul, and I'm happy to join you today following a number of inspiring stories that you've heard from our students and our alumni, our parents, and our friends who support those students with their philanthropy. You know, my role, I have the opportunity, really the privilege, to work with a number of folks from varied backgrounds, diverse careers and upbringings who share one thing in common, and that is an unfailing belief in the power of an education, and in our case, a university education, to change a life trajectory. And in spite of all of the challenges that we're facing today as a society that the pandemic has brought upon us, at DePaul, we continue to be motivated by, we continue to be inspired by you, our donors, who are investing in young people you don't even know, who are thinking about young people who have dreams, who have hopes, who have challenges that you are unaware of, and recognizing that your support, your partnership with them is going to make their DePaul degree possible. And it calls to mind for me an instance when we were doing these type of programs in person, and we were having a lunch, and we were in a big room, and one of our scholarship students was speaking, and a donor at the table abruptly got up and left the room in a hurry. And out of concern, I followed him to the concourse of the area in which we were having the program, and I found him there in tears. And they were tears not of sadness necessarily, but there was something about those tears that showed pride. I asked him if he was okay, and he assured me that he was. And I asked him if there was anything I could do, and he said no, that he was okay, but that he wanted me to know that the reason that he had left so abruptly and the reason that he needed to be out in the concourse was when the student was speaking, he saw in her eyes and he heard in her words his story. He saw himself. And it brought him back to a time when he was a college student, and it recalled for him an opportunity that he received as a scholarship student when he was in college that made his degree and what he achieved in his life possible. And so I want to share with you that the students who are at DePaul today share many of the same dreams, are pursuing many of the same opportunities, are experiencing many of the same challenges that you had when you were a college student, and for many of you when you were students here at DePaul. And I want to thank you for recognizing yourselves in those students and recognizing the importance of you supporting them, just like somebody may have supported you with a scholarship when you were a student. It does, in fact, change the trajectory of their life. And we like to believe here at DePaul that it can change the trajectory of the lives of their family members, a community, a neighborhood, in fact, a city, when more people are experiencing the power of a university education and go on to earn a university degree. And so I want to thank you again for that. And regardless of the format in which we're talking to you and engaging with you today, whether it's virtual like this or someday when we are back in person, and I assure you we will do this again in person, the strength of the student stories and the power of your generosity in supporting them is the same, whether virtual or in person. Thank you again for investing in our university. Thank you again for investing in our students. And please know how humbled we are that you've made a choice to invest in the lives of people you don't even know, but to change forever the trajectory of their lives as they go forward from DePaul. Thank you.